Okay, we're going to continue with this 12.5-inch assembly here, and as you notice I'm wearing a different shirt. This is a different day. We're continuing the assembly here just prior to shipment of this telescope. So I just wanted to walk through now installation of the upper tube assembly, which I'm holding here in my hand. So last we left off putting the truss poles in here, and this upper tube assembly this customer requested on the left hand side of the telescope. So the upper tube goes on as such. I find it easy to do two of the poles first over here across from where I'm standing, and then I drop the next two on, say here to the right, and then another two here on the left, and then that just leaves me with two more here in front of me. And then I find that I just have to use two hands here, one hand here and one hand here, and then it all drops on into place. So that can take a little bit of getting used to as well. It's easy to get the first 6 on there, but to get all 8 takes a little bit of practice, but obviously it's not impossible, and it gets easier as you do it more often. The next thing I'd like to point out is that you want to make sure the balls on the end of the poles are bottoming out in the blocks here. So what I do to ensure that's happening, to make sure that the poles are fully engaged into the blocks, is to take one hand and put it inside of the ring, this lower ring, and kind of just give it a nice push to make sure that everything's nice and flat and bottomed out, and then tighten these thumb screws here. Alright, you want to get them, just like the bottom ones, you want to get them very tight. Alright, that'll keep your collimation from shifting. Alright, so we got that. Same thing here, you're just going to do it 3 more times. Now take one hand, put it inside, pull down on the rings, and tighten the thumb screws. And then over here on this side as well. Alright, nice and tight. And then finally this one here. And by this point it should all be bottomed out because you've bottomed out the first 3. Now this last set here should already be pretty close to being flat. Okay, and then there we go. One other thing, actually 2 more things I'd like to point out, is this connector here, which is for the secondary mirror dew heater. That is going to connect to this cable here that's wrapped around one of the truss poles. That's why, again, you want the truss pole with the wire to be in this socket so that this connector plugs into your Kendrick box down here, but also so it comes up and plugs in to the connector there as well, so you're not, with the wire being too short if you were to plug it in somewhere else. And then the second thing is the light shroud that we have here. Some people like to take it off. For me personally, I find it's better if you leave it just bunched up around the bottom of the upper tube assembly here. That way, when we put the upper tube assembly on, all it takes is just to grab the bottom elastic and essentially work it all the way down instead of having to try to pull it over top of the rings and get it around all the hardware. At least this way it just kind of pulls straight down. So now at this point we've got the telescope pretty much completely assembled, and we'll come back and we'll do a couple more last details on there to help make this a easy use for you.